putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hi, Kevin. This is Midget calling again. I saw you on Fox on the Revolution show. You did great. I just want to comment on the beta male show you did. It was a great show. I was thinking of a perfect example of a strong feminist woman competing in a man's world, and that's Danica Patrick. And you look at her, you think, well, she'd like to be the boss or whatever, but her boyfriend is none other than that great alpha male Green Bay Packer Aaron Rodgers. So it's kind of, makes sense that, even a strong woman doesn't want a beta male. Okay, thanks, bye.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. Midget. She's not Guatemalan. Midget, thanks for the call. It's so true. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, as a strong alpha male, that's all I've ever known to be in my life is an alpha male. I can tell you, I see beta males. I see them with their girlfriends, and I just look at the girls like, you just needed you wanted a companion. What I'm saying by that, you wanted a girlfriend. I mean, you're one step away from lesbian with these beta males. And I can tell you right now, they're never happy. They pretend to be happy when they're out with their friends, and everybody says, "Oh, Roger, he's so this or that." But they want that alpha male. No sense regurgitating that, rehashing it, because it tastes just as good the second time around. The alpha male rules the world, always has and always will, and he will have an alpha female by his side who will rule the world with him. They will they're co-equals in understanding their roles in the world. And I don't care. That's how the animal kingdom is, and man is little more than an animal with a bit of intellect. So there you have it. I know we've kicked this thing on Elizabeth Warren quite a bit, but I want you to hear Elizabeth Warren talk about her ancestry, and then I want to play a Fox clip, if you can get those ready for me, where they talk about Elizabeth Warren's ancestry. And this will be a little bit of an eclectic discussion around this, because I look at Warren as sort of everything that we talk about is a microcosm of leftism. Whether we were talking about Rachel Dolezal, who we haven't heard a lot from in a while, a white woman appropriating blackness. We're talking about Elizabeth Warren, a white woman appropriating, American Indian heritage, if you will. And then we talk about, just recently, Bruno Mars was in trouble because black people have said that he's appropriating black music. And I'm really curious as to how they came up with this. Bruno Mars makes his own music. He's certainly influenced by others, particularly James Brown. He's influenced by Michael Jackson, and I could go on. But, so I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and she says to me, my father used to say to me, when you put your kids in, I'll just use soccer or gymnastics, you're teaching your kids to be white. What you trying to be? Make these kids white. And so she went on to tell me, how it made her feel. And, I would be like, well, why is that? And she starts questioning the lunacy of what her dad said. And so I go, this is what bugs me. And by the way, I think I may put a training video series out at some point, but this is what bugs me about that. I would have pushed back on my dad and said, well, Dad, you get up and you go to a regular job. You're in middle management. And I don't know when blacks got into middle management, but it's pretty rare. So I'm going to assume that when you get up and go to work, you're going to do something white. When you come home and you parent, given that you've hung around, a lot of black fathers don't, and that's what white fathers tend to do, certainly in more per capita than black fathers. So when you parent, you're appropriating white culture. Now, if that sounds ridiculous to you, it's because it is. Dad, you like to golf. Well, that's a white man's sport. So I can just presume that your love of golf is your appropriation of white people, and you're displaying your love of white folks. Should I only put my kids in basketball camps And should we only eat watermelon? I mean, that is so ridiculous. And it strikes me as odd because a lot of times I get the same questions. Now, I think it's interesting to talk about these questions from a psychological point of view. And, I always look at them. I look at it from a lot of different angles. From a sales point of view, you're selling me on a theory that there's a white thing. So when we determine when we're going to use something, do we determine its origin? For example, algebra. If you had to use algebra to calculate something in your life, are you appropriating Muslim culture? Because that math was discovered by algebra. So if that's the case, then who can use calculus? Or who can dare use physics? Or who can use any of the things? Can I appropriate Niels Bohr's law? Can I appropriate Einstein's laws? Can I appropriate some of the other great physicists and other scientists? That's so ridiculous. And where they apply it is even more ridiculous. So it's applied. They don't apply it to the things I just talked about. No, they apply it to social constructs. Braided hair. We did a thing. We showed a video of a girl who was mad at a white kid. This is at college. And she says, why you have your hair in braids or dreads, one or the other? And the guy looks back at like, what? And she's like, why do you have your hair in the culture of black people? And he's like, first of all, it's not black culture. And he goes on to try to tell her, white people have been doing this for quite some time themselves. And just because you may see it more in culture of blacks, and meaning mostly the Rastafarians, doesn't mean it's yours. And she's genuinely mad at him for, going after her culture. And he's a beta male. He has to get bailed out. But I would have looked at her and said, look, let me explain something to you, girl. You don't get to tell me what I do with my body. The same way you feminists want to talk about, oh, it's my body and I can do what I want. You don't tell me how to wear my hair. You don't tell me what to do to my skin. You don't tell me what clothes I can wear. If I want to mimic your sorry culture, I'll mimic it. And there's nothing you can do about it. If I want to wear my pants down to my butt, below my butt, if I want to put a grill in my mouth, wear dreadlocks, and whatever else I choose to wear, a throwback jersey and some sneaks, then so be it. You got nothing to say about it. Oh, man. We need more alpha males, I'll tell you that. I'm not going to get all caught up in the discussion, but we do. We need more alpha males. We need more people willing to stand up to these clowns that are all out there. Anyway, I want to play another clip. Here's Elizabeth Warren talking about her mommy and daddy.
I know that you're looking ahead to November as opposed to 2020, but indulge me a moment here if you would. There are many people who are saying, should you choose to run in 2020, and one of these groups is the Berkshire Eagle, Massachusetts newspaper that endorsed you in 2012, that the issue of your ancestry will come up, and they're suggesting that you put it to rest, saying, quote, Elizabeth Warren should screw up her courage and take the spit test, a DNA test, that a positive test would permanently resolve the issue while possibly shutting down President Trump. Would you be willing to take a DNA test to put this issue to rest?
Look, let's start again where you started. I'm not running for president, but let me tell you a little bit about my family. My mom and dad were born and raised out in Oklahoma, and my daddy was in his teens when he fell in love with my mother. She was a beautiful girl who played the piano, and he was head over heels in love with her and wanted to marry her. And his family was bitterly opposed to that because she was part Native American. And eventually my parents eloped. And they survived the Great Depression. They survived the Dust Bowl. They went through a lot of hard times. They raised 3 boys, my older brothers, all of whom went off to the military. They raised me. They knocked around, and it was tough. But they hung together. They hung together for 63 years. I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me, what my grandmother and my grandfather told me, what all my aunts and uncles told me, and my brothers. It's a part of who I am, and no one's ever going to take that away.
spoken like a true lying fraud. My mommy and daddy said it, and so for me, it's case closed. And I'm not gonna go against my mommy and my daddy. I love the way she talks about it. If what was his name, the guy, Todd Aiken. If Todd Aiken had said that, they'd be ridiculing this guy. They'd be roasting him, but not leftist when Elizabeth Warren says it. Oh, my mommy and my daddy. Who talks like that? Leftist babies, that's who.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.